have to excuse me, I have another repass going on, so there's a lot going on. But we're gonna start, because we got time constraints in this room. So we're gonna start with Manny Martinez. Manny Martinez, can you come on, baby?
Oh, my name is Manny Martinez. I'm the president for the South Jamaica Housing Resident Council and long-term advocate for public housing.
Beverly McFarland, former TA president for Townhouses, also founder of Tenants Advocating for Tomorrow.
Cynthia Tibbs, president for Westside Urban Renewal Brownstown.
Carmen King, the president of Douglas Houses. Introduce yourself.
Equation Morales, Carmen Eunice Treasurer.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out. You know, weather's changing. It's windy. It's hot and cold, just like what we experience here, right? So the topic of today is just a slideshow, so I'm going to run through it very quickly, but it's about resident power. It's also about the rights that we have and that we have attained throughout the course of history, right? So public housing is the home that tenants build. We have to understand that all of the legislation and all of the rights that we have in public housing, when they first started public housing, did not exist. The Housing Act of 1937 was intended to put public housing for white people, right? Whites. And there was a fight to get back in. They segregated it, and there was a lot of advocacy and a lot of court battles on it, right? A lot of people don't realize that the 25%, which is now 30% of your household income, came from the St. Louis rent strike. In 1969, they did a rent strike for 9 months, almost bankrupt the St. Louis Housing Authority, and then that's when, I forgot Congress, it was a specific person, a senator who sponsored and advocated for the 25%, right? A lot of people don't know that the resident rights that we have, Housing Authority has to follow HUD rules, came from the Supreme Court case, Thorpe versus Durham, it was in North Carolina, in which you had Ms. Thorpe, who had a month-to-month lease, and she won the president for the Tenant Association at that time, and so then the Housing Authority tried to evict her. And so she took it to court and went to Supreme Court, and they said that the Housing Authority has to follow HUD's rules. Right? These are things that we have fought for. And we are now in another fight, in a very big fight, because they are now, this isn't just us staying in our homes, this is them taking away public housing completely. So what we're seeing happening right now is NYCHA is trying to convert public housing to project-based Section 8. Some of the lies that they'll say is tenants keep all of their rights. That is a lie. Public housing residents have, the rights that public housing residents have is established in federal legislation, in statutes, right? There was the ability for us to develop resident management corporations. Prior to, in 1986, they had Part 964 that came into play. Part 964 is regulations that regulates tenant participation in public housing. In 1987, they ratified the Resident Management Corporation, and in that, they gave statutory rights to resident councils. Households of a public housing development or public housing project, right, can establish their resident council for representation. This is your First Amendment right, freedom of association. This is an independent organization. Then, the regulations that coincide with that, which is Part 964, those regulations, because it strengthens the federal statute, is your right. These becomes your right. You have the right to organize. The problem that we're having here, let me go back to this project-based section. So, I want you to look at these numbers and the incentive that New York City and New York State has to do these conversions. In 2019, the New York City Housing Authority they had about a $3 billion revenue, annual revenue, right, on 170,000 units. Today, they've converted 30,000 units roughly, and now they have an annual revenue of $5 billion. $2 billion of that comes from the conversions.
And then,
So you have 150,000 units roughly, that's only getting less than $2 billion in public housing, and 30,000 units that's getting $2 billion in the conversions. This isn't about fixing your home. This isn't about protecting your rights. This is actually about them getting more money off of your back, off of you living in your unit. Because the federal government is incentivizing these conversions by giving more money to project-based Section 8 than they are to Section 9. It is political. The money that goes into Section 9 and the money that goes into Section 8 is nothing, there's no other function other than the politicians saying this is what we're going to put in place. This is the law, we're going to fund public housing. We're going to fund, project-based Section 8. One of the reasons why they want to get rid of public housing, for one, we're the ones who built it legislatively through our actions. Two, economic mobility. In public housing, you can earn up to 120% of the AMI, your household, which means it takes you from extreme poverty up to the line of middle class, or what they call now the middle band, right? With project-based Section 8, what they do is they are limited to 80% of your AMI. So that means that the line for you to earn is at poverty. So here are the three income bands for poverty. You have extremely low, which is 30% of the AMI, very low, which is 50% of the AMI, and then 80% of the AMI is low. That is the line of poverty.
how many people know what AMI is? In Section 9.
AMI is area medium income. Area medium income is determined by HUD, and they take counties, and they, like it says, a median, right, which is the middle income, and then they base the classes, the poverty classes, the middle classes based off of that. In New York City, it's also included Putnam County, Rockland County, and Westchester County, which kind of boosts up the AMI, which is gift and curse, depending on how you look at it. But nonetheless, still, to be able to earn 120% of the AMI means that you could make it up to middle class in public housing. The thing that they fear the most is an economically empowered community that is concentrated with us. This is a significant racial thing. Let's not, we can't kick this under the table. This is what it is. One of the biggest social changes that we're having right now in the United States is that it has been forecast that the next 10, maybe 15 years, if they keep immigration policy so aggressive, that the white majority in the United States will no longer be a majority. That is having a significant impact on them being more aggressive in our communities to make sure that economic stability and mobility is not achieved. Because if they are going to, I don't want to say they, because if this controlling class, because it's not all white people, it's the white people who make decisions that we don't know, right? That we don't see. I want that to be clear, right? White is not biological. White is something that happened in legislation back in Virginia when there was an uprising between indentured servants and slaves. And so to divide and conquer, they gave the indentured servants who were white, or they labeled them white, right, legislatively, and then everybody else white. And so that's how that whole thing happened, right, divide and conquer. But it still is a running constant today. So, now, so the Housing Act of 1937 is what established public housing. During that expansion from 1937, there's been amendments after amendments after amendments. So Section 9 is the section under the Housing Act of 1937 that funds the operation and capital distribution of public housing. Right. NYCHA, being the largest portfolio of public housing, gets around close to 20% of the total public housing funds. Comes here. Right? Now that's very significant because you know how many people have ever heard the term too big to fail? Right? So without the obstructions, without NYCHA actively violating and aggressively obstructing our access to the rights that we have, we would be too big to fail. Our economic policies, our economic rights, our ability to establish businesses and even contract with the housing authority would empower us to a point where we would have a level of stability that they feel.
Can I interject just for a second? Because, you know, I don't want this to start going over people's heads, right? But sometimes you can get a lot of information and don't understand, right? And so I don't want that to happen here. So if there's something that you're not understanding, I want to know. All right? Because Manny is real technical and he's like real,
Stop me. Feel free to stop me. If there's any, we're an intimate group, right? This is not a big group. If there's any kind of specificity, anything, stop me, right? This is us having a conversation. This is just me being able to point to stuff so I don't forget things. Right? So, but yes, so where we are right now, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, the thing is, I wanted to make sure people understand, Section 9 is public housing right now, which is low-income housing. The Section 8 that they're talking about with value tax are project-based. Those are not voucher programs. They belong to the unit. They belong to the development. So with those ears, when he do this presentation, when he says Section 9, which is low-income housing, which we are in now, most of the developments, but when they go transition these apartments into Section 8 apartments, they want you to believe that you could take these vouchers with you like the traditional voucher programs, but that is not the case. The case that belongs to the building. It belongs to the new developers, the new owners, because NYCHA no longer owns that property. It belongs to a developer.
Well, we're here basically to keep permanent affordable housing. That's what we're doing. And we're talking about different types of funding. And the problem is not so much the funding, it's how you manage the funding. And NYCHA's been a nightmare. NYCHA's got all the money that they should have, and they basically have 300 units empty. So it's not the right thing, I disagree with you. It's we don't know. Look how many people you have here. You have more than the panel than you have outside.
Come on,
So you get no respect. Now, let me say, there are some issues that not just crime and youth employment. If we don't change the way this community operates and becomes a viable engine to produce income and jobs, meaningful jobs. Now, I came from this neighborhood like this, and I got out of the neighborhood financially. My kids are basically, I live in a house and they can make as much as they can. We can change that. You're here, and if you raise your kids to make more money, they gotta get out. So we don't want to break up the community.
If I could just, so now, there's one thing though, too, that we have to really understand, because, you know, a lot of people talk about crime and all this other stuff. The biggest part here is the obstruction to access that we have, right? Only in public housing do we have economic rights. Section 3, which mandates a prioritization of public housing rentals. Public housing has billions of dollars that comes into it in construction. And there is no compliance with those economic rights.
Let me address that.
The other thing, hold on, sorry, Lucky. The other thing too is, with this project-based Section 8, right? Given that you are capped at 80%, if you make more than 80% of the AMI for more than 6 months, they take you off of the Section 8 rent roll, which means it allows the private management to now charge you private market rate rent. So now you can go from 30% of your household income, and you're at the limit. Now you have to make a decision, do I take this dollar raise that's going to put me over the 80%, or am I going to let my child get a job that's going to put us over the 80%? Then now we have to pay over 50% because we're no longer covered by Section 8. And so now these are the things that we have to consider. And Lucky, I will let you get through it. Let me just run through this. This is real quick. Lucky, this is real quick. Right? And so this is why these conversions are a poverty trap.
Right.
We need to preserve our economic mobility, and we need to preserve our rights. Oh, so this, did I cut it off? There you go. Alright, and so now, resident council rights. Well, this is really public housing and household rights. You have the right to establish a resident council that will represent your community, independent, right? That resident council also has the right, let me say that better. Households of public housing also have the right to participate in the public housing authorities management and policy making. That is the most valuable thing that we have. That is the most valuable equity asset that we have, is our right to participate in the housing authority's policy making, especially with a housing authority that's getting so much money as it is now. They have obstructed that access. The way that they have obstructed that access, playing off of our ignorance, is that one, we don't know that we have it. Two, they create policy documents. They create policy that obstructs this. The main obstruction to our participation right? The main obstruction of our participation right is how many people know what the citywide council of presidents is? Raise your hand. Right. So the citywide council of presidents, NYCHA created this organization. We didn't create it. But they act like we did. And they're treating this organization like it's a resident-based organization. And they enter into a phony contract with it, which is MOA. This MOA is a housing authority policy. Housing authority policy cannot supersede regulations, and regulations can't supersede statutes. And we have the statute right to participate and to be represented by ourselves that we select. Well, the biggest challenge that we have right now in defending our homes is restoring our right. Let's start thinking about what we could do if we participated in the policy making for the New York City Housing Authority and all the contracts that they have, buildings and jobs. Right now, the New York City Housing Authority has a moratorium on construction. The only thing that they're doing is public safety. Who told them that they could do that without money? They are holding out funds because they're trying to starve the New York City Housing Authority to a point where they say, oh, we have no money. But they're hiding it. I have evidence that happened in my development where the council member, who was once the speaker, allocated $1 million for a computer lab. NYCHA did not communicate the value of the contract that they had for that computer lab, which when I put my foot in and did all my rights and started fighting with them, they reduced that contract by 60%. But they still was going to let us believe that it was worth $1 million. So if they reduced that city council contract by 60%, how many other contracts are they reducing? How much other dollars is hitting their bottom line is supposed to come to your community and you don't know about it? This is why we have to restore our right to participate in the policy making, because this housing authority doesn't have the right to do that. The way that we do this, the way that we restore our communities, the way that we activate Section 3, our economic right, we're the only community that has these economic rights, is by us restoring our right to participate in policymaking and start assessing these conversion conditions. I'm at the end, right? Because this is right here where we're going to find, right? Where we're going to find our access and our control. Because as long as they keep us solid, as long as they keep our resident council subordinated with this fake resident association, then they're going to make sure, it's like them holding our heads underwater while they steal everything in our room. We have to restore our right. And we have to take control over this. And so that's the challenge. Of understanding that the New York City Housing Authority went into to develop a resident policy, and they went into that contract with a resident organization that they themselves created. And they don't have the right to create resident organizations. But because we are not aware, and we don't know that these things are happening, we don't know to challenge it. It will be challenged very soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's good.
Man,
But there's another option.
I got you. Yep. Different speaker. This is, let me tell you something. You know that for years we've been talking about the same thing. Okay? Douglas is pretty lucky. In the sense that I have Resident Management Corporation. Okay? So they have not been, they won't come in here like they were going to her development. I'm going to let her talk about Rad Pack, and so y'all know what this is. It is important that you know about this, because this is what's happening. And the whole key to this is the residents. It's not us. It's each one of us. The residents have to take back their power, just like Manny was talking about. It's all about the power that you have. All we can do is let you know what power you have. This CCOP, DCOP, that's what New York City Housing Authority pays mind to. They're not paying mind to the resident councils that you guys elected. There's 7 people making decisions for 500,000 residents. How is that possible? How is that possible? This is the problem. And now we have a new problem. A mayor, our mayor, who allocated $5.6 billion, not to New York City Housing Authority. He actually allocated that money to privatize. That money is not coming to us. That money is going to RAD, PAC, and the trust. And the Union Trust, right? And this is what we're facing. We got a big fight on our hands, guys. Because now we got a mayor that we got to shut his ass down. We really got to shut him down. But I'm going to let Cynthia, you want to talk about the 5-1?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, with this $5.6 billion, billion dollars is going to RAD and PAC. And I don't think the mayor understands, because he haven't sat at the table with resident leaders and residents to let them know the negative impact of these conversions. We have a high number of evictions in each conversion. We have people dying in the process of these conversions. We have Nigel lying to our tenants and saying these are Section 8 vouchers that y'all can turn over and move out of state. They're lying. These vouchers belong to the management companies. Who makes the money? They make $650 on your market rent additionally just to host these vouchers. So people have to understand that when they tell you do you want RAD or PAC or the trust, you have to know that that umbrella is under the Section 8 umbrella. NYCHA can't tell you will stay and everything won't change, because no longer are you under NYCHA. You go into now the Section 8 restrictions. Section 8 says it's right to size. So you've been in your apartment 30 years, you by yourself now, your kids are gone, no grandkids. You in your three-bed apartment. You going into a studio
Section 8.
based on Section 8 criteria. They're not going to tell you returning back to your apartment. You will not return back to your apartment. You have the right to go back to any apartment but not your unit. So people got to understand when NYCHA is telling you guys, please research what is the truth, because they don't always tell you the truth. They always have all these beautiful brochures telling you how the apartment's going to look. It's better. Everybody, I'm tired. Here, let's take it. Let's take it. Let's take it. But is it really for you? Out the door.
She has a question.
Okay, so I want everybody to really understand what the negative impacts of these conversions are. And now that we have the right to, when it comes to your development, you to say whether you want Section 8, whether you want RAD, PAC, or the trust, which is the trust is the same thing, it's just ran by NYCHA. So why are they giving NYCHA? First of all, that's a violation, because NYCHA is under a consent decree by law that fixed the apartments. So why are they was able to go to the city and state to get this program, this trust program, when they haven't satisfied the federal lawsuit? So people don't, because our elected officials don't know that, they was able to get that bill passed. So that's my portion of it. If there's any questions about what Section 8 is, what Section 9, you have to know if you're in a development that has not been converted, your development is under Section 9, which is low-income public housing. The other, Section 8, is affordable, but affordable to whom? I'm done with my calling. That's all I have to say.
This is really serious. So much has happened in the last month that I've been trying to juggle 20,000 things at one time. As we know, there's been a lot of deaths in Douglas houses. So I'm like here, there, everywhere, right? I had scheduled this so that all of Frederick Douglass could be here. They didn't know that one of my seniors was going to pass, and we will be having a Passover now, like a repast right now. My room is full of people that are coming for that repast. So things that goes to show you never know what God has in store, right? But this is so serious, and it is so dangerous that people need to come out of their houses. They don't understand. I don't know how much longer we're gonna have. Oh, Douglas, y'all ain't got to worry, because you know I'm gonna keep on fighting, but y'all got to come out with me. We have to make our elected officials accountable for their decisions.
Correct.
A lot of our elected officials are definitely with RAD, PAC, and the trust. And I won't say they don't know. They're not taking the time to find out.
They're not reading the regulations.
Okay? You gotta read the regulations. Okay? We have a lot of laws that cover us. And if they would take the time to just do that. This is why I invited Stephanie. I remember, Stephanie, come up here just for a second, right? And the first thing I asked Stephanie, I said, Stephanie, what do you know about Rad Pack? What do you know? She said, I don't know. So I said, I tell you what, you want me to take you serious, do me a favor, go home and do your homework. I told her to look up at 964 Rex. I told her to go on the government, on NYCHA's government, find out. And she did. And that's why she's here today. And I told her, you know what? I really want you to come. I want my people to get to know who you are. And this is why Stephanie's here. I endorsed her as Carmen Quinones, not as president, because I don't have the right to do that. I endorsed her for myself. And y'all have that chance to do that yourself. So this is my candidate, Stephanie. I have another candidate. Mr. Dolan. And Mr. Dolan and me, as a matter of fact, me, Dolan, and Louie are going to talk about resident management and home ownership in a few minutes. All right. I'm going to let definitely my girl over here who's going through hell with Pat, Rad, and Blueprint now. They grabbed a whole slew of Upper West Side. Even Douglas on the other side was grabbed. So you know we all right. Because they sure didn't come to us because of that resident management corporation, that 501c I got. So I'm going to let Cynthia Tibbs from the Woodshore.
My name is Cynthia Tibbs. I live in the Restore Brownstones. We are a collection of 36 brownstones from 89th Street to 93rd Street, from Central Park West to Columbus and Amsterdam. So anyone that knows, all of us at this table are original presidents. We have been fighting against PACT since 2010, when de Blasio was in office and first created this. We got to see the horrors that happened at Ocean Bay when it hit them, the very first development that went into this in 2015. Now, when de Blasio decided that he was going to put developments into PACT, there was no such thing as a vote. There were 62,000 units that were made up that he sat with a bunch of developers looking at a scale model of all the NYCHA buildings, and they drooled over which ones they wanted to take control over. And the Upper West Side was a huge portion of it. And they came to us in 2015 and told us all of this magical stuff we were going to get under this program. And us original presidents fought against it because there was no vote back then. There was just de Blasio's big mouth. So we fought against it, and they removed us from the program because we made such a ruckus. Yes, we were out there fighting. And we tried to warn our tenants in our developments, in our meetings, that this was going to happen, that as much as we fought to stop it now, trust and believe there would be a circle back, because the city is relentless. NYCHA is relentless when it comes to how much money they can make off of our backs. And as hard as I have fought since 2015, here we are in 2026, and I get told with a bunch of other presidents in this neighborhood, here's the circle back, and no one's going to save you this time. Because de Blasio's gone. When Adams was in office, Adams pulled us all into Gracie Mansion and sat us down like we were school kids and told us there was no white knight coming to save us. And that as hard as we fight against this, he's determined that every development is going to be privatized. And we went at it with Mayor Adams because we did not agree, because he was in the pocket of real estate developers. So now, here comes Mamdani. When Mamdani was running for office and wanted our endorsement, he did a Zoom with a bunch of us presidents.
And
in
I
fact,
still
he
didn't endorse him.
refused. And we did. Well, too many drank the Kool-Aid. But we sat there and we listened to him on Zoom. And we asked him, do you know what the HUD 964 rules and regulations are that govern our protections and our rights? He admitted he did not know them, that he needed to catch up on them. We turned around and said, you're in a district where you have Astoria houses and you have Queensbridge. And the TAs there, along with the residents, have told us that you haven't helped them with anything since you have been assemblyman in that district. Why would we believe you're going to help us as mayor when you have done zero towards your tenants as an assembly person? And understand, in our district, before Michael Lasser came in, we had Danny O'Donnell forever, who never did anything for public housing, who refused to even let us come to his office and have a conversation with him. So when we have someone running for mayor telling us, well, I know I need to catch up, who didn't do anything for the residents when he was under assembly person, we chose not to endorse him. However, too many people, like I said, drank the Kool-Aid and voted this man in. And now we're in the mess we're in now. Because he has shown us his hand very clearly. And that is the same hand that Mayor Adams dealt us, if not worse. Because he has decided not only to privatize us, but take away any rights we have as to us being said. Now here we are in 2026, and NYCHA's come up with more than what de Blasio did. De Blasio only had the PAC program. Now we have the trust. The trust is another Section 8 program. The difference being is that instead of a private management company coming in and taking over, NYCHA still gets to run those buildings, but they are running them as a private entity under Section 8. They will be getting the same private subsidies from HUD as these private management companies are going to be able to get from us under the PAC program. That's the only difference, but it's privatization on both ends. And the only developments that get to vote and have a reason, because everyone wanted to know why Isaac House has got to vote and we didn't. Well, Isaac House has got to vote because they were being considered for the trust. And that's when the option came for them to either vote for PAC or trust. And yes, by law, they have to give them the option to stay in Section 9, not thinking that that would happen. But it's happened a couple of times now. It's happened at Isaac Houses, it happened at Coney Island Houses. Now the unfortunate flip side to this victory that they've gotten is that they've gotten no repairs done since. So here, while you're clapping, understand these residents have gotten no repairs since the vote. And this is NYCHA's way of punishing them. So for every victory we try to go after, there is a huge punishment behind it. And we still forge forward. And the majority of us presidents that are fighting right now understand any TA president makes no money in their position. These are volunteer positions. We get no money from them. But unfortunately now we have people that are being considered for demolition without saying the development's names. And one of the presidents bit the apple. Very well. Okay, he's in new suits, he's got a suntan, and he makes it bad for the rest of us presidents that are trying to do the hard work in keeping our residents not only safe but alive. Because what the media doesn't tell you or hasn't followed up on is since Ocean Bay, how many seniors have died during the conversion? How many of them have had heart attacks? How many of them have stroked out? Because of the harassment that they get from not only NYCHA officials, but from the TA presidents that have been brought out. And then you've got me, who's now stuck in this mess fighting for my 36 buildings, and I have outsiders that have never attended a meeting in the 20 years I've been doing this, that now want to say that the TAs aren't giving out proper information. that the TAs are on the payroll, that the TAs don't care about the residents. And that puts a bullseye on our back. For those of us that are trying to do the right thing, it puts a bullseye on our back. And I need everybody in here to understand that. We don't do this for the fame, we don't do it for the money. We do it because we live here. I am born and raised Upper West Side, born in the house. Because I come from a family where I have a white mother and a black father, and the paramedics refuse to deliver me.
Come on.
So let's understand it. It's not a white thing. It's an income thing. And I get offended when we talk about race all the time. Because I have a mother that everyone says should have been born black. Okay? Because she was out there fighting for us when we were children, when people would call us nigger. Okay? Or people would say, you know you're Hispanic and you're ashamed of your race. All right? But this is the nonsense that we get now. And if you can't be a part of our fight, then at least understand the full scope of what we're fighting for before you start trashing our names in the street. Because NYCHA loves it when we fight against each other. That's what they do. It's called controlled chaos. And they are masterminds of it. They have been doing this forever. And this group of not 7 people called the Citywide Council of Residents, those are the ones that have homes out of state. Those are the ones that NYCHA listens to. They don't even listen to us. Okay? We got privy to a secret meeting they had where they said they can't stand none of us presidents. That they don't even read our emails when we complain. Okay? They said, I can't stand Manny and Carmen. They said, as far as I'm concerned, those presidents are nothing but insects that should be swatted as such and ignored. I have the tape, and I have shotgunned it to everybody, because I don't care. What are they going to do to me? Because I'm not on nobody's payroll.
Amen.
I have been voted by my presidents unanimously for almost 20 years, and I'm going to stay voted by them as long as I continue to do the right thing. But understand, NYCHA loves outside agitators. You have to understand from beginning to end why we are here and what are we doing now. And if you have been absent from meetings, then catch up before you assume. Because I was taught when you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Mostly you. Because I know what I'm talking about. Okay? Everyone needs to understand they are now coming for the Upper West Side. We have thrown as many demands their way. I have fought and asked for a moratorium, which means a freeze on all PAC conversions. I want everything to be frozen where it is right now and stop moving forward with this until we can get an independent third-party monitor to oversee this mess. Because since the mayor refuses to pull us out of it, and NYCHA is going through a vengeance with it, I need to make sure that someone from the outside that's not paid off is monitoring this mess. So we don't wind up with fires. Because I've watched Rice Towers have 3 major fires during their conversion that happened 6 years ago. I went into people's apartments, and the conversion is supposed to be 1 room in your apartment at a time. We found seniors in there sitting on their toilet seat lids with a Ziploc bag of their pills in their lap crying because Wave Crest Management was demolishing the whole apartment around them because they didn't have an overseas monitor. That's why I want it frozen. Last month at the City Council hearing for public housing, Lisa Bovin Hyatt sat there while Chris Banks asked her, regarding demolition, is this now a tool that you plan on using moving forward? Because in the beginning, under de Blasio, we were told demolition would never be considered, even though it is a part of the original RAD complex, is part of the writing on the wall is called Section 18. they said that they would never enact the Section 18 clause. Well, lo and behold, we see what's happening in Fulton and Chelsea. They've now decided to enact the Section 18 clause and try to demolish it. Lisa Bovenheidt confirmed last month, because I was at the hearing. This is where I spend my time, at hearings, testifying, sitting with politicians. This is what we do. We don't sit home all day watching telenovela. That's what we do. This is what we do. We work hard all day long while people talk shit about us.
Zooming all
Okay?
day.
I spend more time on Zoom than I do in the bathroom.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. But she stood there at the hearing, and when she was asked, is Section 18 something they plan on doing now? She said, absolutely. Section 18 is now on the table for all developments. My poor little brownstones are 133 years old. If you don't think that NYCHA is going to try to find a way to demo our buildings so they can build one super tall project and squeeze all of us in it, and then build brand new townhouses for the wealthy, I already see the writing on the wall. I know the game plan. I've been in this game with them too long that I now think like them, which is disgusting. But I have to do it in order to stay 5 steps ahead of them. Because I know what's coming. They're supposed to let us know who is looking to run our buildings. We're supposed to have a say-so. And now who develops us, who manages us, and who's going to be doing the construction. But the real estate team won't let us know who's out here walking the grounds. But you see, it's a public street. So when I'm not on meetings now, me and my cane and my new hip replacement have to walk up and down the streets, and I see all these people out there with blueprints of my building, and I'm asking them, are you here inspecting my building? Yes, we are. Are you under real estate, or are you under NYCHA? Are you here making repairs? We're under real estate. Well, where are you from? We're not obliged to talk to you. They refuse to talk to us because this is how NYCHA has it set up. Truthful, they are not transparent. They are the exact opposite. We are now one of the biggest bundles they've ever done. It is 10 developments big, not 10 buildings, 10 developments.
What's that?
They took all of Douglas Rehabs on Broadway and West End. That's over 9 buildings over there. They took my 36 brownstones. They took 201 to host us. They took 120 West 94. They took Douglas Rehabs. They took 74 West 92nd Street. They took the senior development on 91st Street. They took another 589 Amsterdam on 89th and Amsterdam. They took 84th Street, and they took another senior development on the east side, and they have combined us all together and decided that we will all be under the same management. Now, how's that going to work? Where are they going to put the management company in the middle of Central Park? Because where are we going? We're supposed to be making decisions on who these people are. They won't even let us know who's on the list that's vying for us. But why should I trust anyone on NYCHA's list? NYCHA is the #1 worst landlord running for the past 4 years. Which means everyone, if you look at the list of developers and management companies that have currently been under the PAC program, they're all slumlords like NYCHA. One slumlord passes over to another slumlord. That's all it is. Wavecrest has got an F rating from the Better Business Bureau, and yet NYCHA chose not to remove them when they blew up Boston Secor a couple months ago. That was not
And Mitchell Houses.
Mitchell Houses. All of this is Wavecrest. This is NYCHA's doing. NYCHA doesn't care about us. We are expendable. We are nothing but a dollar sign to them. They don't care if we live or die. They only care about the unit.
I've been sitting here, listening to everybody, NYCHA's no good. We know that. And there are options, and you're not exercising that. Back about 5 years ago, I met with a lot of them when they sold those units. And I said, let's go to the streets. Only 2 people agreed to go, and I don't have to live in NYCHA. how it works, and I know if you decide to form a 501c, you have an option to control all this pollution. You can choose your developer, you can go with it, you can choose who's gonna work here, you can choose how you're gonna secure it. You have all those rights, and the funding comes directly to you. And it's permanent. And if you choose to basically go and own it, you have that opportunity to take it home.
Let me interrupt just for a minute because I don't want things to go.
Yeah, no offense, but I did get cut off, and as much as we'd like to do that, we are faced right with today and now. And today and now is to put a freeze to keep it from going forward. And then we can just discuss all that other stuff. But right now, our main objective is to freeze it where it's at, so that we don't go forward.
Piggybacking off of what Cynthia's talking about. This is what each of you have the right to do. We as a team, and I keep saying, when I wanted this town hall is about residents. Nothing else, residents. Residents getting empowered. That's what it's about. Residents getting empowered. Now, while we got our 501c3 here for resident management, they went all around us though. They went all around us. What makes you think they're not going to try to set you back? Oh, they're going to try to set you back. Because if they keep seeing these empty chairs like this, ain't no power here. Ain't no power here. I'm gonna let Marty come and say a couple of words because he has something to say about home equity for NYCHA residents. Marty?
Yeah, sure.
Introduce yourself, Marty.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I'm Marty Dolan. I'm the guy with two different shoes. I've been campaigning so hard, they told me I had to stop, but I just couldn't. So I'm going to be the next congressman in Congressional District 14 on June 23rd when we defeat AOC and get back to the USA away from the DSA. And I want to talk to you about a different angle, which is it's exactly where everybody here is going. You might say, well, this guy, he looks like he's from Wall Street. That's right. Let's talk about money. This is America, and in America, it's okay to talk about money. I think you guys are each sitting on $75,000 worth of rights. I think that's what your leaders should be getting you, is the option to have your rights be valued. So I've got this little voucher for $75,000. And I think that, New York is about leadership. And as it relates to public housing in the United States, let's face it, the houses are not in great condition. Some of them probably do have to be demolished and rebuilt. There is an inevitability to that. In CD14, I live right next door to the Astoria houses, kind of between the Astoria houses and Queensbridge houses. So, I think the new tool that you should add to this discussion is, what are your rights? What is the value of your ownership of these phenomenally valuable pieces of real estate, right? So what I'd like to do is get the dialogue transitioned into money. Okay, we gotta fix these houses, either rehabilitate them or demolish them and rebuild them. But I think that you have a right of ownership, and I'm just going to go real quickly through. In Wall Street, for example, if you're a mutual policy holder of Prudential Life and they become a public company, you get stock in the company. It's called a demutualization, and that's really what's happening here. Which is, I think the starting point should be that if your apartment's worth $150,000, you should have the option to buy it for $75,000. That's what our city pension fund should be doing, is they should be funding our people. We shouldn't be wasting time on Israel, we shouldn't be wasting time on socialism. We should get behind our people. We should use our pension fund money to back our people. Now, nothing about your rights should change. If you want to stay where you are, you stay where you are. On the other hand, if you want to become a homeowner and join the game, the great American game, the number one predictor of whether somebody will own a home in their life is if their parents owned a home. Because you pass down the knowledge. Here's how a mortgage works. Here's how you build equity. You know what? You go fix your own problems and have the value of the property go up. So I'm going to bring a new mentality to this problem, which is let's put a price on it. Let's put a minimum price. If they want to move you, you get $75,000 of equity. If you want to take cash, that's fine. You go away. Then it's their apartment. If you want to stay put, you stay put. And I think you're better off with that tool. Not everybody's going to want it. Some of you might. That's the American way, is put a price on the problem instead of arguing it and denying that it's there. So what I'm talking about is a program called Real Equity at Last, or I call it Getting Real with the Projects. And it's another option. It doesn't change your rights. It just monetizes them and captures them. So I'll hand out a couple of these, like in church. If you just kind of hand these backwards, that would be helpful. There's no collection basket here either. Just handle it back like that way. For this group here, for this group over here. And I want to thank Carmen, and I want to thank all these wonderful people. You're doing your best to educate everybody and bring up public discussion. This is something like this is going to happen. And my advice to you is organize. Form a coalition and say, we're not afraid of the future. We want to embrace it. But you got to include us in what's called the capital step. We will go along with you. This is what the taxi drivers should have done when Uber came in. They should have said, okay, Uber can come in, but we want some stock in Uber. Instead they got wiped out. Go ahead.
Are you a candidate for something?
I'm a candidate for Congress in Congressional District 14, which is the South Bronx and Northern Queens.
Do you have a background in real estate?
My background's on Wall Street, and I want to just give you one
Wall
fact.
Street money or Wall Street real estate?
No, I was a business doctor on Wall Street. I solved whatever the worst problem was. They
I'm
sent me.
asking you, did you deal in real estate or money? Wall Street is a couple of things. Did you deal-
Wall Street's 100 different things. I never owned any real estate except for my own house.
Okay, so you have no real estate experience. That's all.
No, I have lots of real estate experience.
That was the question.
Okay, what percentage of the mortgages in the United States are guaranteed by the federal government? 100%. There is nothing preventing New York City from creating this concept of real equity at last for the residents of NYCHA. And then you have a business discussion. These people can lead you through a business discussion. You know, it's more valuable than that. It's less valuable than these people. And then you're in business. And that's what I want to see. Is I want to see this community get their rights valued and get into a constructive conversation that's going to bring about positive change. So, Carmen, I don't want to take over.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
for all that.
We're open to everything, all kinds of suggestions, but the real deal is, remember my quote was, what was it again? What was it again? Man, but we wanted to know, housing first, Mayor, housing first, right? So that was one of my biggest things when that actually went viral. I went to Mondani's, whatchamacallit, and his rental ripoff, and I changed his mind, because he was gonna open up with, you know, rentals and all that, and not housing. And so when he opened his mouth, the first thing I said was, housing first, Mayor, public housing first, right? And we gotta keep saying that. public housing first, Mayor, public housing first. And while we need to be talking about resident management, again, I'm asking all Frederick Douglass people, from now on, we gotta make these meetings, we're gonna start making sure that we take our resident management to the level it needs to take before they try to come in here, because they're all around us now. All right? And the only thing keeping us secure is that 501c3.
It protects you. It stops all this nonsense. I understand that the funding is coming from you, the taxpayers, and they divert the money somewhere. And the other thing is that Trump said he's going to cut the funding to nature. When I got involved, about 5 years ago, I meant because I saw what was going to happen downtown. When they sold all those units, I called Carmen. I went to Beverly. I went with Manny. I met with Cynthia. And I said, look, we got to stop this. I didn't know nothing about what I was saying at the time. I said, we got to take the street. But that's not them. And they are putting their heart and soul into what they're doing. But I believe they're wrong. Because we have to take another approach. The approach is ownership. Own your thing and they can't mess with you. It's in the laws, it's in the regulations.
Is it the regular?
All you have to do is vote. That's why I'm here. I'm frustrated. Because I see what they're doing to my neighborhood. I don't live with this. How this area here is basically Solomon Hill. When Moses came, the great developed racist, and he knocked us all down and built Lincoln Center. And if you go right to the park, that was Afro-American and Indians. And the Baptist said, oh, we need a Central Park. Where are we going to take it from? Oh, that's non-white people, that's not yellow. And they did that. And now you are sitting in prime property. You don't know how much I would love to live in New York, but it's not safe. And that's an issue that they have to resolve easy. All they have to do is bring the cops back that they took out. And that resolves that problem. And our kids, there's no future. There's no business. What are they going to do? They're going to sell drugs. And then they're going to bump your neighbor's mom. So you got to stop this. You got to change. It's not just about housing. It's about economic development. They both go hand in hand. Get it to your head. But if you don't vote, you don't count.
Yeah, but these things are already in place. And I really want Manny to emphasize the section 3. Because you know why? Because economic development is already in our regulations, but they are not abiding by it. So I would take Manny with that.
Man, go through section 3.
I do want to just clear up a couple of things though. So first thing is that the New York City Housing Authority is not public housing. They receive public housing dollars through Section 9 through a contract, ACC. Same thing with Section 8, it's a HAP contract. They distribute the work or the vouchers or whatever it is, but they themselves are not public housing. The reason why I believe to make that distinction, because a lot of people say, oh, well, why do you want nitrogen? We don't want nitrogen. We want to have access to the contract. We want to run and develop our own under this fund. Second thing is that, Section 8 and Section 9 are both funded by political will. If we see, if NYCHA's, 30% of NYCHA's community will go up to Washington, D.C. and sit on White House lawn, I think things will change. But we have to understand that. And one, we have to know that public housing belongs to us. We have an equity stake in it, in our right. That's in legislation. Now, to circle that back into what they was talking about, the economic rights that we have. This was something that was fought in the Civil Rights Act. We got Section 3 after Dr. King was assassinated. And there was riots throughout the whole country. And they did a shanty town on the Washington Mall, demanding for economic rights. They maintained the Poor People's Campaign, demanding for economic rights. And that's where we got and that's where we got the Section 3 economic rights that we have now. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because that belongs to us. We fought for that. We died for that. Right? history, right? So let's go back into history, right? Black Wall Street, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? The reason why they bombed the first air terrorist attack was Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the reason why they did that was because that black community, that dollar circulated in that black community for 13 months before it went out. That was the most successful community in the country, black or white. You have to understand that economics is where we're going to find our power. And we have everything we need in public housing in order to capitalize and get a strong return on investment on that dollar. We have to get NYCHA out of our way, and we have to start taking control of that. And so this is why, I'm going to loop it back in, and I'm going to end it off with this. This is why we have to restore our right to participate in NYCHA's policy making, so we can fire some of these executive bumps that we got in there, making $400,000 a year, while the eviction rate is going up for our communities, and while these conversions are going to happen, and we're going to get the city's demographic. And that's the thing that we have to understand. This is a slow road to making New York City a bit different than what it is now. Eviction rates are going up, and once all of these developments, if they ever get to the point where all of these developments are converted, they're going to change everything. It's going to be more, these private management companies are going to throw you out. They're going to go back to a tenement circumstance. They don't care about our communities. They care about shuffling us out.
And get their money.
This is what we have to understand. They're positioning themselves and not slowly telling us that everything's the same while they set up shop. And they set up shop over here, and then we're surrounded. The next thing you know, we're either moving out or sleeping on the street. And not because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, but because we got private entities who do not have the same restrictions that government may have. They start pulling you out. So we have to fight for it while we still have it. Because you use it, you lose it. Right? 9/10 of the law is what? Possession. We are possessing it right now.
Yes.
And every time one conversion happens, and that all your rights in public housing, leave us.
Yeah, how do we fight? How do we fight? He's talking about fighting. Tell me how do we fight?
Okay, but we don't have.
I just started that fight.
Standing up as a community and coming together.
What needs to happen, and again, and until you have residents participating in the residents association. Now, I can't speak for all residents. I can't speak for all presidents. Okay? Because all presidents are not doing the right thing. Okay? Which makes the ones that are doing the right thing hard. Our job is harder. And I've been in this fight 40 years. I'm tired. I'm tired. And every day it's a new fight. It's never the same fight. It's never the same fight. Y'all can see me giving out food and whatnot. When I go upstairs, we don't get off the phone till when? 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I sat down. I'm sorry. I sat down with Beverly, and I saw what she did to the people in town.
And look what they did for. And look what they did for. Because people,
She
again.
spent her time getting toys for the kids on the line. And so I see that. I've been with them. I know that.
That's right. And it's a lot of that. You're going to see.
There was a political change.
Let me tell you, again, this is not, we are targets of New York City Housing Authority. We are blackballed by New York City Housing Authority. Every person that's up here, us been blackballed and targeted.
Not only
And
that,
now,
officials.
yeah. Oh, let the officials there too. They be like, stay away from her, she ain't nothing but trouble. Because they don't want to deal with the real shit. Reality, right? And this is exactly what we're talking about. The other day, Cynthia calls me up and she says, Connie, did you see what happened downtown? I said, no, what happened downtown? Bring it up. Oh, bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up. Again. Bring it up.
We have a president.
We have presidents
that punched
have sold out,
that punched the
that
senior.
sold their soul to PAC, RAG, and the Blueprint, right? So, because this president from downtown, I'm going to show you it because you got to see this. I was shocked because it puts every president in a bad light.
Because they're taking,
Because this senior said no. This president punched him in the face because he sold out that whole development to the PAC and RAG, or whatever, which one they got. But you have that, right?
Yeah, anyone that wants
You got it,
to have
you
a
got
look at my phone when this is over.
You gotta see this.
He did. He punched the senior. And now we're defending ourselves because of what he did.
And because of what he did,
everything, we were taking money.
He punched the senior.
us presidents have to defend ourselves. Because we don't sell it. We're not selling. That's another one that don't sell out over there.
No, that's two.
And because of one person, that went viral. I even put it on. I shipped it to everybody. Look what this asshole did. He should be in jail for even thinking of striking a senior. Selling out Chelsea and them down there. Acevedo. Yes, that's him. And he's the same one that punched that senior in his face. So this is not a game anymore. This is real. We are getting targeted. My kids want me to leave already. But this is my heart and my soul. Yes.
I was telling Cynthia, that video is an old video.
It's still a video.
Over a year, 'cause I remember when
Yeah.
it first came out, I posted it,
Wow.
because I saw what happened too, but yeah. that is-
So when you see
He's still president.
he's still president,
He's
that's
still
important.
president. So that's
He's still president and he's still sold out. That's the point.
So if he was not, if he was, that goes to show you that he's working with the developer because he's still president. Anyone else would have been in prison.
Not only with the, he's working with NYCHA, all right? NYCHA pays people off. And we're not in that group, so we're blackballed. So when they talk about presidents on the table, we get offended real bad. How do we get offended?
But
Because we try to do the right thing and we've been trying to do the right thing over 30 years.
Like,
There ain't nobody sitting up here that ain't got 30 years, man.
Hold on. I
25
just want to say something. I know you're trying to do the best for all of us, but we got to look at the other people that fucks up, excuse my language, that fucks up the projects, pissing and shit like that, and they live in a fucking building.
Right.
The people that own this shit be like, these motherfuckers want to live like pigs, get them the fuck out. Because if it was my building and I catch him in the prison, he got to go. This motherfucker,
That's what the new development.
that's why it's all messed up. Because it's the people too that live here doing dumb shit.
You're right.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right. And I don't know about anybody else, but here in Douglas, we're trying to fix that. We have our meetings. I got my residents here. We don't play.
No, I know, we still live in Douglas here.
We sit with contractors. I have a meeting with anything that comes in Douglas, don't go nowhere unless it go through me. For real. It's not gonna happen.
No,
cannot do it without the residents. It's that time. Because there's gonna come a time when Cummins is gonna be like, yo, I can't anymore. The only thing holding Frederick Douglass together is my 501c3, trust me. And I got that with my Social Security. All right?
But it doesn't.
That's how serious it was.
And she's lucky because there's other developments with the 501 that are now intact. Samuel City has had a 501c3 as long as you have. That's Blackwell. They got her.
Oh, but back was
So,
so
but she went in.
Back
But I'm
went
saying,
in.
but there's a couple in Jeff
So,
Robinson also.
Again, it's not gonna work without you guys. I have a friend in the audience I wanted to say hi. Rev, we got here a little late, but come on, Rev.
Sure.
You know.
People who are defecating and making that noise and doing that. 95% or more of our community are hardworking, distinguishable, respectable people, right? It's this small group of people who come into the space, and it's because the housing authority and the services that's around us don't effectively monitor and do what they're supposed to do, right? And it's because, well, I'm not going to say it was because, right? And Cynthia, I never meant anything specific, but still has, but nonetheless. But I just want to say that, and the other thing too is with the trust, and just to say with the trust, so when the trust comes around, you have a vote. That doesn't mean that RAG can't come back in. So if you have a trust vote and you vote Section 9, that doesn't mean that the housing authority can come back in and just force you into RAG.
Which is what they're gonna do.
Which is what they plan to do. Right? And the only thing that we have to fight against that is the right for us to participate in policy making. Because if we make a policy that says that they can't come into our space the way that they come into our space now, we'll have a stronger position. If we get into policy and we start ensuring the compliance to our economic rights, we got contractors coming onto our developments by tons, but none of us is in there. You got people coming from, they're getting millions of dollars in these contracts, 30, 40, 50, $100 million, and we don't see our community in there, and they're not coming in reinvesting in our community the way they're supposed to. And that's thieving, they're thieving from us. If we do policy making, if we get to participate in that, we change that. We are partners, supposed to be partners here, and that needs to be our goal. That's how we fight back. We take control where we have the control to take. Thank you.
And you know something, Manny? I think that we need to sit down, get some of these policies done, and every development can start, at least the residents can start signing off, right? Because they don't know how to do it, but we can get it together so they can read it. And if they agree with it, they can sign it. Is that good for you guys? All right, since we know most of the law and all that kind of stuff. Because we got to start somewhere, right? We got to start somewhere. That's all I'm saying. We got to start somewhere. And Stephanie, like I said, I'm hoping, I know you're probably going to be the 71st here. I just want you to know that I'm going to be depending on you. You know me, I told you my finger be on the pulse. We need partners. We don't need anyone backstabbing us. And we're tired of it. We're so tired of it. And that's why I tell everybody from now on, pick your vote. You've got to go online, find out about the person, find out how they voted, find out what they did, what was their last thing, and then you vote. Stop giving your vote blindly.
To someone
Stop.
that's in that name recognition. It should not be based on name recognition, because a lot of our elected officials are selling us out. So don't listen just because you see a name recognition that's been in your community. What have they done for your community? And if they have not done anything, then you should give someone else a chance.
Here we go. And I think that's way to go.
I just wanted to also talk about the trust. People have to, no.
No, briefly.
No, briefly.
She got something.
No, I'm saying in terms of the trust. People have to understand NYCHA, when you go into that program, NYCHA can go to the bank and get loans and deeds in order to make the necessary repairs. But what if NYCHA does not forfeit those loans?
That's it.
Who would that property belong to?
It goes to the bank, the same as the
That's
PAC
what the
building.
PAC building
It's
do.
the same
So we
exact
want to
thing.
make sure when they come to your development, if they do, because just like Carmen said, she has a safeguard for Douglas, but when they do, they can, if they say what you want to go in, RAD, PAC, the trust, or the same status quo, they say status quo, but that means section 9. You make sure you know what you're picking, that the same status quo means section 9. So that's what I wanted to tell people, because with the trust, if NYCHA been mismanagement and disinvesting in regular NYCHA, what do you think they're gonna do with the trust? And again, then those properties will go into the bank and it will be owned by the bank, and then what you think you're gonna happen then? We'll be out. Period. So there is another revenue stream, because sometimes there is a revenue stream now going out that Mr. Stocks, he's an assemblyman upstate, is trying to put in place, which is called the stock transfer. And had talked to your elected officials about where they stand with this stock transfer, because it can bring billions of dollars every year into NYCHA to make the necessary repairs. And while I was on a former vice president on RPPH, we were able to write in the contract, in its bill, that that money will be, that 5% of the revenue stream will go to section 9 in public housing. So it is allocated, it will be allocated to only section 9. So if you are listen, speak to your elected officials and ask them what they stand on the stock transfer, which is
You don't know what that is, look it up, stock transfer.
Yes, okay, that does not really good.
Yeah,
You have,
No, I wanted to, can I share that one or 2 minutes?
okay, let me get back.
Brad to come up.
I'll give it to you, sister.
Right, beautiful. Come on, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Janet. I'm the president of the Department, and it's certainly that it's said here. I just want to share because my views, my opinions based on my experience and what I see. First of all, I want to come back into what Maddie mentioned. I'm glad that you mentioned it about NYCHA and public housing, because the way the information is being given out, it gives the impression that it's all one and the same, but it's not. It's NYCHA, and then it's public housing, like in stabilized buildings, who have to have their rent stabilized. It's 2 different things, but he's making it sound like he's getting ready to do this great big job for long term, and it's 2 separate things. So I'm glad you brought that.
That's what the mayor is.
As far as garbage in the buildings, there's no new rules or regulations that need to be created for that to happen. They already exist.
Stay in place.
The property managers don't give a crap about NYCHA residents. They believe that you like living in garbage, that you don't care, and at the same time, they don't do what's in their power today to do to try to curb it. There are notices that they can post, informing tenants about the corrective action, possibly your removal, the termination of your tenancy, the court throwing things out the window and leaving trash, but they don't do it. And even when they post it, they don't enforce it. Their excuse is that, well, we don't know who did it, and you can't rely on the word of a tenant, because tenants bicker back and forth, and you might lie on your tenant and say their kids did something when they didn't, those type of things. But I'm just saying, it's an excuse. They literally, this is what I want to stress to you. NYCHA has abandoned public housing. they are not in no shape, form, or fashion into keeping or preserving public housing, affordable housing, and this government and many people in this city are in support of privatization.
That's right.
Forget what you heard and what they're saying out your mouth, out their mouth, particularly since it's election time. They are for privatization because it's profitable.
Correct.
That's the bottom
Yeah,
line.
money,
There's
money.
money. The same subsidies that this government, even before Trump, has been taken away from NYCHA. They brought us to the place where we are here now, where you got broken this and broken that, short staff, they can't fix it because they broke. It's because of the years and years of disinvestment, right? But they're willing to take that same money and give it to a private developer.
Correct.
Okay, and it's the same money. It's coming from the same entity, the government. So they're more vested in privatizing for profit than they are in preserving your housing. And right now, nothing, the trust, Red Pack, nothing is safe, secure housing. It is not. Right now, as we speak, this government under Trump is trying to do it Section 8. He's trying to create work requirements on Section 8. He's trying to require you only get a 2-year limit and then you're on your own. Okay? If they do this and you're in Section 8, project-based Section 8, which is underneath Red Pack, and they take your Section 8, baby, you got to pay that market rate rent. Well, you got to go. You think they don't know that? They bet on it. That's how they get you out. So the Red Pack is not safe. The trust is not safe. The people in NYCHA, y'all gonna have to figure out a way to get it together and come together. Because if NYCHA is saved, it will be because of you.
Thank you so much. All the and it just goes to show you, yes. Children, I don't care how old they are, let's go check on mom. What you do? So, the bottom line to this whole thing is, put your boxing gloves on.
Better know.
We gotta fight.
And put Vaseline on your face too.
For real, this is a fight. And excuse me if you can say it now, I'm not even gonna excuse my fuck Madonna. Okay? Because that nigga right there, he got issues. And guess what? He's gonna have issues with all of us now. Alright? Because that stuff that he did, that 5.6 billion for privatization, yo, now you're talking about making sure my grandkids don't have nowhere to live. My great-grandkids ain't gonna have nowhere to live. That's the bottom line. It ain't about me no more. It's about my grand and my great-grand. You got a problem with them, you got a problem with me. Now, if there's any message that we need to send them today, it's back the fuck up. Back up, man. But we cannot do it if y'all guys do not get involved. Okay? We got the whole world against us up here. Everybody, come on, Mama, you too. Come on, that's right. Come over here. The whole world against us all over here. Brad, you too.
Come on, Brad. You black boy too.
We got city council people, assembly people, senators. I can't say that about Senator Claire because she tell you right up and down she ain't with that shit.
then that's gonna happen to them.
I think that's the backmark on the door.
And that's why I got rid of it. Did you bring your truck out here?
Yes, sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, give yourselves a hand clap for coming out. Give homage and honor to folks that's on the ground and that's really doing the work. And that's not getting a real serious paycheck or getting no money at all to do the work. So I always want to be able to pay homage to those individuals that's doing the work. I just came by to stop by because of the simple fact that we are, as has already been said by Sister Chavis and everyone of it, we're in the fight for our lives. We're in the fight for our lives regarding NYCHA because the mayor, Mandani, is trying to, he actually is not even trying to, he is. He is trying to be able to take the money from the landlords and the rich and to be able to dismantle public housing. That's what his goal is. He has never been, he's a part of the DSA, so his mentality is never to preserve public housing. That is not his goal at all. I got a call from the administration a couple of weeks ago because many of y'all saw me on the news and saw me out there. I went back with them because they had hosted these NYCHA rip-off hearings.
We went by a little bit.
And I told them, myself and Carmen and others, we was there, and I told the mayor that, he said, I'm going to mention NYCHA first at the hearing. And I said, you can mention it, but I'm going to still protest. And I protested and made some noise, and I got a call last week to say, oh, Rev, we're doing, we want to invite you because we're doing these NYCHA in your neighborhoods. These are what you suggested, and we're doing it. And we want you to come and introduce the mayor. I said, I'll come and I'll introduce the mayor, but the mayor ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say. So if it's up to you, you want me to come. And that's not what I asked the mayor to do. I asked the mayor to put NYCHA first, not to be an afterthought. NYCHA should have been, they're the worst city landlord in the country. There's over 600,000 residents in New York City. So he should have done these hearings first, not an afterthought. So then they called me again and said, oh, we want to invite you. The mayor's going to announce this big NYCHA plan that he has. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's doing these things. And I said, okay, where are you doing that? In Gowanus. I said, good. I've been organizing and been in Gowanus, and I've been helping them with the issues over there. So I know people are going to go back and forth with him regarding that. He said that he's going to announce all of this money for privatization and not really help with public housing. So when you hear these numbers and you're thinking that he's doing something NYCHA, I always say the devil's in the details. Read the fine print of what he's doing. He's not preserving anything. He's actually getting rid of it. Because the more money that he's raising for these private developers, the more that public housing won't even be existing. So just like they tried to be able to do in Chelsea and other areas, they try to be able to push these red packs and push all of these, until all of it at the end of the day is still NYCHA. NYCHA still has the responsibility and they want to be off the hook. So they're relying on the mayor to, because why not, if you're talking about all this privatization, why wouldn't they have Lisa Hyatt there?
Right.
She's the CEO. Why not have them? Everything was about private housing, public housing, not about NYCHA. It's two different things. So when the sister explains, she was absolutely right. So he's not doing this break. People say, oh, congratulations, we on the road. No, they're not. There's nothing to celebrate. So I told them, and I've been organizing that everywhere we go, that the mayor is and that Lisa, because NYCHA think that they're going to go off the hook. Because the mayor has really came out and say that, oh, we're going to do this. Remember when he met with Trump? And he talked about that he's going to bring the biggest housing since 1973. This is what he was talking about. Because the deal was, what he don't know is that Trump has some property in Sunnyside Gardens. So he did a deal with him to do the housing. Wow. And he threw
NYCHA under the bus.
See what I'm
So
saying?
when he met with Trump, yes, he talked about, he brought up NYCHA. Because I thought, okay, how you don't not bring up NYCHA, you know, that, but he did bring it up. He brought it up
He
to
brought it up,
vote
right.
to make sure that he gets this housing that he wants in Sunnyside Gardens. So that's why it's important to organize. So when see people say what we want to do, you got to do it now. There's June the 2nd is the hearing, is the executive budget hearing. You can they're not taking any testimony, so you can just listen to the hearing on that particular day. On the 2nd, but on the 3rd, we're going to be at Van Dyke Community Center because the CEO is going to be there.
Brad,
We're
can you
gonna-
say that again? I think they missed it. I need you to say that again.
Sure.
About Sunnyside.
Yes.
Okay.
So, sure.
Who wanted that property?
So Donald Trump, the president
Who was
was
the mayor promising to give that property to?
Donald Trump.
One of the guys not providing you all affordable housing. You see the game?
Yeah.
You know he wanted that, Trump wanted that property.
Yeah.
And he's gonna tell the residents, I'm giving you affordable housing. I'm looking to put it over here. No, you ain't. You doing this, you doing him a solid. You ain't doing shit for us. That's just it.
This is so, how much, the Democratic Socialists of America don't care about preserving public housing. Their goal is to get rid of it. That is their goal. So they making it seem like, you know, if you notice that the mayor, when he was running, he only mentioned NYCHA 2 times. That's it, never did it before at all. But he came, he came to family days, he came to meetings, but he did nothing. He just visited one development. He just visited one development in Guanas 2 days ago.
So
That's
he
it.
came to our platform at RPPH, and he promised that he would preserve he would preserve Section 9. But he
So
said,
you knew nothing about that.
and he said he would not.
Yeah, so this is all him, but we gotta be in the street, we gotta organize, we gotta resist, the power is in the people. That is the only way that you get stuff done. There's two things that they're scared of. And this, I don't care what you do, is the power, when you organize the masses of the people and the power of the media. Those are the two things. So every time y'all see me out there, it's putting the pressure on as much as possible to get the results. But you gotta do it with NYCHA. You can't let NYCHA off the hook. NYCHA is held responsible. The CEO, the executive vice president, all of them got raises.
Yes, Lord.
Got raises on top of saying that, oh, we want to kick the repairs and things that needs to be happening in these developments. So we need to be able to resist and organize. We have, it's good to be able to deal with the policy because that's where it is. But guess what? It's happening right now. It's happening right now. So you have to be able to be at these hearings. You have to be able to be in the street. You have to do it. Guess what? In a matter of years, if people don't believe it, I guarantee you, in a matter of years, you're going to see. So I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I'm gonna sit down. In East New York, Brooklyn, the Rat Pack came into 3 developments: Penworthing houses, Boulevard houses, and Fortino houses. Those 3 developments, right? People were against one development, was for it, the other one was against it. We were telling people don't sign a new lease. People were against it. My office has gotten so much calls of issues, more than NYCHA residents in East New York from Rat Pack. They want to go back to the old way, but they can't.
They can't.
Because they got so many issues of time. You got people complaining that they got heat. I got a call the other day that people got heat right now. The heat is on gas in their apartment. When it's supposed to be the opposite. You see how hot it was outside? So these are so when people say, oh, sign this, or we want to get a better elevator, or we want to be able to get a better development, no. They have monies to do these things. They have monies in their budget. They have monies to do that. They have to do that. They don't have to be able to get the money from out of their been fighting for every year. Every year we bring this budget dance about where the money is coming from. Yes, we need the money from the federal government, but NYCHA has a responsibility and they have mismanaged the money for years. People went to jail because they mismanaged the money. So that's why we cannot let NYCHA off the hook. So that's why you're gonna see me out there. There's a truck that I rented and I put my Danny face on it and I didn't care because, and now I'm changing to Lisa Harvey face on Tuesday because, whatever her name is. Her face because she can't be off the hook at all.
First of all,
you know?
she's on the board of a real estate,
Yes,
a small
correct.
real estate.
Yeah,
So
which is
she-
a conflict of interest,
Interest.
and she should not be,
You should not
no.
know that.
As a matter of fact, just Friday, they were giving Dan Green, an award.
Right.
And Lisa Overhyde and all of them were over there. They didn't expect to see me over there. I walked over there, and Lisa Overhyde, I had the shirt on with the eye, you know, my eye shirt. And she goes, "Oh my God, I love the shirt. I love the eye. Look, I have the eye." Yeah, I said, "I'm calm, you notice I'm the president. You need to sit down." You should have seen the face. And then even Triple came up to me. I said, "My God, you got boots on the ground, girl." Honey, they were so shook. They were so shook. So I already called Brian Homeland so we can have that meeting. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. We don't have no more time. I only have this till 5 o'clock. I gotta go to my room. But I want you to listen. I want you to just say, let Stephanie say a couple of words right quick about what she heard and what she learned. Okay. Come on. Now, we have 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Ruskay. I'm a rabbi. I'm a public school parent and I'm a tenant. I live 103rd and Riverside. I was born in the Shalama building on 97th Street between Columbus and Central Park West. I was incredibly moved by what I heard here. I would like to keep being in a relationship with all of you. I think that there should never be policies and changes made for the people who are most impacted being in the room, ever. You are the people who have the expertise, and you should, if I am elected, I will never make choices that I don't discuss with you. And I consider you advisors. You are the best experts on what's happening here. And I understand the extreme fear about the unknown and being put out. You can never go back once you're put out of your house. I was incredibly disappointed to hear about the decision to just do red tag and the volume that is happening. And hearing